In World War II, November 1944 marked one of the bloodiest fights you've likely never heard of. The Allies had stormed ashore in France in June. They liberated Paris in August, and they were chasing the Germans back to their homeland when 76 years ago they hit a wall. Only this wall was made of trees and fortified with men, machine guns, and artillery. A 50-square-mile patch of land, comparatively to the woodlands of the Great Smoky Mountains in looks, but not in size. You can see only 1/16 the size of our national forest. But it was a site where East Tennessee troops fought and died.
Ready. Aim. Fire.
On October 7th, on what would have been his 107th birthday, a soldier from Scott County was laid to rest almost 76 years after he was killed in one of World War II's bloodiest and longest battles.
Men like Oliver Jeffers stood the gap and sacrificed so that we could have a free world today.
At age 31, Private First Class Oliver Jeffers died in the infamous Hurtgen Forest. Hawkins County soldier Lewis Price met the same fate in the same battle.
The worst of the fighting was in November, so essentially 76 years ago today. And it was, by all accounts, a German victory.
These troops were fighting for meters, not miles.
Exactly.
The terrain that stalled the American advance toward Berlin was vital to the German war machine.
There was huge hydroelectric dams there that powered German industry. It was also a place of coal and iron production. So it was a key part of Germany. It's really the heart of the Germany's industrial production.
Tactically, it was not a decisive turning point, but we lost a lot of American boys in the Hurtgen Forest.
Yes, we did indeed. And some of those were from East Tennessee, for sure.
33,000 dead and wounded during a couple of months of fighting in a forest landscape that resembled thickets of trees in the Great Smoky Mountains. But far from the vast landscape of this national park, that German killing field was a mere speck of 50 square miles.
But it turns out to be one of the deadliest battles of World War II. Is that fair to say?
In Europe, yes, for sure.
Is it possible to say how many troops went through the Hurtgen Forest from East Tennessee?
40 to 50 to maybe 60 or 70, and many of them did survive, as Ben Franklin did.
University of Tennessee Professor Emeritus John Romiser interviewed and befriended the late World War II veteran and Knoxville native Ben Franklin.
And the memory is still fresh in my mind. We have a lot of rain, a lot of mud.
The combat veteran who joined the Army at 16 fought in North Africa and stormed bloody Omaha Beach during the invasion of Normandy, found himself in the fight of his life 6 months later among the dense hodgepodge of trees in the Hurtgen Forest.
To advance 50 yards in 2 days was quite an accomplishment.
Evergreens exploded from German artillery fire, spearing American troops with splinters of wood. During the bursts of incoming rounds, soldiers found the safest move was often to hug the nearest tree.
You could be way over there, and the shrapnel would hit you, and you can't lie down.
Ground troops slogging through the mud had little support from tanks. The trees were too thick. And no support from the air. Again, the trees were too thick. Weeks into the fight, one historic account notes, around Thanksgiving, commanders in the rear gave orders to move rare hot food to the front. It was an order that sent meal runners to their deaths.
And it really showed the people on the front line could not explain to the people in the rear just how bad it was.
Exactly. And, the people in the back say, oh, we got to have our Thanksgiving turkey. And, even though the Germans are all around us.
Bitter setbacks at war tend to be overshadowed by victories. But for those who lost loved ones in the Hurtgen Forest, it isn't a forgettable footnote, but an important symbol of the sacrifice we ask of our soldiers.
Historians expect even more troops killed in the Hurtgen Forest will be repatriated. Their remains have already been unearthed, and DNA advances are making it possible to ID the dead resting now in tombs of the unknown.